Helen Keller was a notable American writer, active in politics, and a strong supporter of causes for the deaf and blind. Despite facing challenges since childhood that left her deaf and blind, Helen emerged as a symbol of courage in the face of difficulty. She achieved the remarkable feat of being the first person who was deaf and blind to earn a bachelor's degree. A dedicated advocate, she used her influence to speak up for important issues like fairness, political change, and the rights of people with disabilities. Through her prominent presence, she helped break down unfair ideas about blindness and deafness, becoming an inspiring example of overcoming tough situations. Helen Keller was born on the 27th of June 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. When she was just 19 months old, she fell seriously ill, which led to her becoming deaf and mostly blind. In the early years of her life, she could only communicate with her family using a few simple signs. She found a bit more success in connecting with the 6-year-old daughter of the family's cook. However, because she couldn't communicate well, people thought she was misbehaving, like when she used her fingers to eat from others' plates at the table. In 1886, Helen went to see a specialist in Baltimore who was good with eyes, ears, and noses. This doctor connected them with Alexander Graham Bell, who was looking into problems related to hearing and sound. He's the one who made the first telephone. Bell was really touched by working with Helen, and the experience meant a lot to him. With the kind help of Alexander Bell, Helen got the chance to visit the Perkins Institute for the Blind. There, she met Annie Sullivan, who was once a student there too. Even though Annie had her own visual challenges and was just 20 years old without much teaching experience, she took on the important task of teaching Helen how to communicate. Their journey together lasted for an incredible 49 years. It wasn't just a regular teacher-student relationship, it was a deep connection built on understanding and determination. Through Anne's guidance, Helen's world opened up, and their bond became a remarkable and enduring story. In the beginning, Helen Keller felt frustrated because she couldn't understand the hand signals that Annie Sullivan was using. But after a month of trying hard, something wonderful happened. Annie poured water over Helen's left hand and then wrote the word, water, on her right hand. This helped Helen understand the system, and soon she could recognize many things around the house. It was like a light turning on in Helen's mind. This special way of communicating opened up a whole new world for her, and she began to learn and discover so much more. The word, water, became a key that unlocked the door to language and understanding for Helen. Keller's progress was truly remarkable, as she quickly left behind her old challenges and habits. She became really good at reading Braille, which allowed her to start a meaningful education journey, despite her difficulties. Keller's progress was so impressive that it surprised everyone around her. Later on, she even learned to write using a Braille typewriter. This showed how determined she was to learn and achieve things, despite the obstacles she faced. Destiny brought Keller and the famous American author, Mark Twain, together. Twain was really impressed by Keller's strong will, and he helped convince Henry Rogers, a rich businessman, to support her education financially. Despite facing big challenges, Keller's determination paid off. She got the chance to study at Radcliffe College. And in 1904, she proudly graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree. Her time at college wasn't just about academics. She learned how to speak and understand lip reading. Her sense of touch also became incredibly sharp. Keller realized that her deafness and blindness pushed her to develop a kind of wisdom that goes beyond the usual senses. Through her experiences, she discovered a unique way of understanding the world, using her touch and her inner thoughts. Keller didn't just excel in her studies, she also became really good at writing and speaking. In 1903, she shared her life story through her autobiography titled, The Story of My Life. In this book, she talked about how she faced and overcame her difficulties. She explained how these challenges made her see life in a whole new way. Keller's interests weren't limited to personal stories, she also wrote about politics. She strongly supported the American Socialist Party and joined them in 1909. She wanted everyone to have a fair share of money and believed that the inequality in capitalist society should end. Her beliefs grew stronger after the miners' strike in 1912, and she expressed them in her book, Out of the Dark, 1913, through several essays on socialism. She was a big fan of Eugene V's Debs and supported him in all the presidential elections he took part in. In 1912, she joined the Industrial Workers of the World, IWW. Apart from being a socialist, Keller believed in peace and opposed America's involvement in World War I. Her beliefs showed that she cared a lot about fairness, justice, and making the world a better place. When it came to matters of faith, she was an ardent supporter of the teachings of Emanuel Swedenborg, a Christian thinker who had a unique way of looking at the Bible. She believed strongly in his ideas and worked hard to spread them. In 1927, she even wrote a book called My Religion, where she talked about her own spiritual journey and how much she valued Swedenborg's teachings. Since 1918, she dedicated a big part of her life to helping blind charities. She worked hard to collect money and make people understand the challenges faced by blind people. Her main aim was to raise funds and also make life better for blind people, who often didn't have good education and lived in places called asylums. Because of her popularity, the way people saw blindness and deafness started to change for the better. People also knew her for being very positive, and she wanted to spread this positive thinking to others. It was like she had a special garden of hope inside her that she shared with everyone she met. As her life journey reached its final stages, she experienced a stroke and peacefully passed away in her sleep on June 1, 1968. Her life was adorned with many awards, including a special one called the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which she received in 1964 from Lyndon B. Johnson. This award was a recognition of her strong spirit and the lasting impact she made. Helen Keller's life teaches us important lessons that apply to our own lives. Her story shows us that no matter how tough things are, we can overcome them if we stay strong and never give up. She proved that even when faced with big challenges, we can achieve great things by working hard and not losing hope. Another thing we learn from her is the importance of caring for others and understanding their struggles. Helen Keller tried to make life better for blind and deaf people and stood up for important issues. She showed us how we can use our own experiences to help others. Her positive attitude is also something we can learn from. Even when things were difficult, she kept a hopeful outlook and turned challenges into chances to learn and grow. Helen Keller's life inspires us to face our problems with courage, make a positive impact, and live a meaningful life.